Hi guys, and welcome to my Burmester 909, or as it's called on AliExpress, amplifier T9.3 amplifier review. I got it for a little less than $1,400. I've used some coupons, but let's be honest, it's quite expensive one. First things first, store links and the audio setup chain used for this review are described in the video description. I'm recording this video with my new phone, so I hope the quality will be a little bit better than the previous videos. We'll see about that. Second thing, as those of you that follow my YouTube social feed know, I was contacted last week by AliExpress for the influencer coupons. I thought this is some kind of scam or maybe mistake, but it's not. It really does work, as some of you guys reported. I've posted the links to the influencer campaign with links for different amplifiers. And the best thing about that is that there are coupon codes at the top of the page. And these coupon codes work mostly for the things from the top list on the top of the page. You can scroll that horizontally. But some of you reported that the coupons, when manually copied, can be also used with other equipment. It works differently in different areas. I'm not still exactly clear if there are limits on numbers or maybe some areas that the coupons will be valid for, but follow the link in the description and at least try to get a coupon, because the largest ones are very nice because they are for $90. So that's very good coupon. It's actually better than the largest coupons offered by AliExpress on regular sales. Okay, so let's get back to the review. Original Burmester 909, produced in Germany, Mark V at the moment, can be used for something like $50,000. Okay, so this one is way cheaper. This one here is based on reverse engineered and reworked for do-it-yourself purpose diagrams of some earlier version. I don't think it's Mark V, but it's very hard to tell unless you analyze the PCB and we'll check what kind of diagrams are floating freely over the web, especially over do-it-yourself forums. So this particular version is T9.3. It's supposed to be, according to the store I bought that one from, superseded now by 9.3 evolution, which was actually slightly larger, higher, and used different mountings for the amplifier and power capacitor bank boards, because the spacers could break during transport, and we'll talk about that more later. And this is also superseded right now by 9.4, which again uses slightly larger chassis and slightly different layout of the boards inside. The boards seem to be exactly the same according to the photos that I saw in offers, especially in the one that I got this one from. So it should sound the same, but they have slightly different, safer layout inside of the chassis. I'm talking about that because some of you asked me about that when you have followed the links that I've posted in my first look video, and realized that this particular chassis is no longer available. The link for the offer was still valid, but the amplifier looked slightly different. This is the same amplifier, but the chassis will be bigger. So anyway, the new version is the same price as that one. Again, it's the regular price without any coupons would be something like $1,400. Yes, it's a lot, but it's still way less expensive than the original. I've seen the version Mark III offered for sale, second-hand, here in Europe for something like $10,000. So yes, it's 5 times cheaper than Mark V, but again, it's something like 4, almost 5 times more expensive than that one. Again, according to the store, to the specification that's placed on the store that I got this amplifier from, it's full dual mono, it's 36 kilograms, and it's class A up to 8 watts into 8 ohms, but the total power rating is 225 watts per channel into 8 ohms, or 450 watts per channel into 4 ohms. So this one is a real monster. And it also has some very good numbers for THD and signal to noise and dynamic range. THD is supposed to be 0.000525%, meaning very minuscule THD. THD plus noise is 0.0016%. Damping factor is supposed to be 2000. It's very big number for the amplifier, but then again, all Burmester amplifiers are known for that parameter. And signal to noise ratio and dynamic range are 120 decibels. Okay, so let's take a tour of the amplifier. It's, as I said, it's 36 kilograms and it's placed on my rotating stand, and I'm kind of afraid that it will break it down because it's so heavy that it rotates very slowly and very heavily. So I have removed okay, so let's start with the outsides. In the front of the amplifier we have power switch and 2 LED lights for the status of the left and right channels. On the sides of the chassis we have very large heatsink fins, and in the back, or maybe let's do it like that. In the back we have one set of RCA inputs, one set of XLR balanced inputs selectable by the switch. Lower position means it's using XLRs, higher position RCAs. We have one set of speaker output posts. They are nothing fancy. They are exactly the same as I've seen on all other amplifiers. We have power socket with fuse integrated and small sticker saying this is T9.3 with specific serial number. It looks like they sold quite a lot of them, unless the number is used to code some other meaning. Yes, and that's it. Let's have it like that, and let's open the chassis. Okay, so it's really heavy, it's really thick, it's at least 5 millimeters thick. I think it's more like 6 or maybe 7 millimeters thick. It's very heavy and very solid. You've seen most of that, by the way, in my first look video. What's inside? Inside we have 2 large toroidal transformers, one per channel, according to the manufacturer and according to the sticker that's on this side of the transformer. They are 800 watts each. Each of the power boards for the channel amplifiers uses 8 of 10,000 microfarads ELNA for audio caps, meaning 80,000 microfarads per channel. Okay, what else do we have here? It's using 7 pairs of matched sunken transistors. You can see the top of the transistors here and here, and I was able to confirm with my flashlight that these are actual sunken transistors. I mean, at least branded as sunken transistors. What else do we have here? Some nice armor relays for protecting the speakers and switching the speaker output when the amplifier is ready. We can see that it's a full symmetric build, meaning that we have exactly the same amplifier boards on the left and right, exactly the same power boards on left and right. We have a slow start module here. We have a DC protection board here, and underneath that metal plate there is a second toroidal transformer. The speaker output cables are quite thick. They look really good. These are the ones. We have 2 fuses per channel. Each one of them is 16 amperes. This is very powerful amplifier, and the output current can be really high. We can also see the red capacitors. Everywhere you'll see the red capacitor like that. These are German YEEEES. By the way, these ones, the YEEEES over here and over there, are used as a bypass capacitors for the caps on the power board. It's an interesting solution because in many do-it-yourself builds, it's recommended to do a bypass for the power caps with some kind of foil capacitors, and these boards were designed to have bypasses already here and here. What else do we have here? We have some, these are, let's rotate that one. We have some blue Nichicon capacitors, but they don't look really good to me. Let's zoom in. Let's try to zoom in on the caps, and you can see that they don't look really well. I mean, they don't look fake. I've seen worse, but they look like they've been used or something like that. Okay. What else interesting do we have here? I've told you about the fuses, I've told you about the relays. Yes, let's zoom in again, same area. We have OP07C here for the DC servo purposes. So maybe it would be a good idea to replace that one with something faster and more modern. But because I don't really think that the circuit was designed with 07C specifically in mind. We can see that all looms are very neatly placed all over the amplifier, and let's rotate it so you will see the other side of the amp. Okay. So, we have rectifiers here, 4 sets of rectifiers per channel, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, a set of ceramic resistors, the white ones, and let's zoom in. Yep, over there. RCA inputs, RCA switch, and XLR input boards. What's really interesting, and I'll need to rotate the amplifier once again to show you that, is that the actual, oh yes, like that. The actual board inputs are balanced. It's using ground, plus and minus wiring. So it means that I would say that the boards really are balanced. Oh, maybe you'll be able to see. Or maybe not. I won't be able to focus on the sticker over there. Anyway, it says it's 800 watts per each transformer. Okay, I think that's it about the build. Yeah, one more thing. I've told you that, let's rotate it again, that one of the reasons that they've upgraded this 9.3 version to same number, also 9.3, but slightly different chassis, was the problem with the spacers, the standoffs, that they could break in transport. And you can actually read a story about that in the offer that I linked to in the video, in one of the reviews from the buyers. And previously, during first look video, I haven't noticed that, but let's take a look here. Zoom in, zoom in. Can you see that one? Look at that. It actually broke. It broke over here. I've missed that earlier. I've noticed it just today. In my case, it doesn't make a difference because I've checked every other, and it seems that only this one has problems. So I may replace it with a new one if I find some time, because in order to remove and replace that one, I would also have to remove the lower one. I think so. Yeah, so it would be a lot of work just to replace that one spacer, and it doesn't really make a difference. Of course, if there would be more of them damaged, then I would have to replace them. But with only one, yeah, I don't suppose I'll be throwing this amplifier as they probably do during shipment. Okay, so that's about the internal build. I really love the build. It's high quality build. Everything has a reasonable layout. If you take a look at the photos for the newer versions, for the 9.4 version, you'll see that it's actually higher, and the power board is underneath the amplifier board, meaning that they are not stacked on top of another, but they are placed like that. So they will be using shorter standoffs that will withstand larger forces. Yes, now to the most important part of the review. Oh no, sorry, I forgot about one thing. According to the manufacturer description, this amplifier has built-in 3 different protection circuits. The first one is for the DC offset. If the DC offset is larger than the threshold value, it will cut off speakers. The second one is short circuit protection. Again, if the outputs will be shorted, it will power off the amplifier board, and you'll have to cycle the power to reset this protection. And the third one is overheating protection, set with threshold for 85 degrees centigrade. If the amplifier will get hotter than that, it will switch off. In my tests during the burn-in, and burn-in was something like almost 2 weeks, because again I was on a business trip, and it was playing constantly for almost 2 weeks in a row. The temperature never went higher than 40 degrees centigrade, measured on the fins and on the inside of the heatsink near the sunken transistors. By the way, you can see how thick this plate really is. It's more than 1 centimeter, 1.1 I think, or maybe 1.2, but it's really thick, solid aluminum block. That's why it's so heavy. So it never gets hot. According to the manufacturer, in standby it's using 180 watts, and I can confirm that measured with my Tuya smart plug it was something like 190, so within error. And when it's playing, it will be slightly more. With my volume levels, it was something like 192 or 95, so within error margin. But I'm not listening very loud. I'm listening, I would say, with normal, regular volume, not the disco levels. Okay, so that's about the build and the specification. Let's move to the sound quality. I have to do something with my hands, so never mind the things I'll be doing here. Oh, by the way, this is the third one. You can see the green tip. The previous so this is the fourth one. The 3 previous pointers were stolen by my cat, so I had to do one new specially for this review. Okay, the bass. The bass here is very deep and it's very powerful, but at the same time it's very precise and textured. the amplifier retains excellent control over the drivers. You may recall that in a few videos earlier I referred to Fallout 3 theme track from recorded by London Philharmonic Orchestra for opening sounds of this track. This is one of the few amps that get these opening sounds with heart-blowing authority. The bass here is thunderous and effortless, and I think it all boils down to a combination of power and damping factor. This amplifier grabs your speakers by the throat and makes them do everything it says. Moving on to the mid-range. The mids are nicely detailed with natural timbre. The bass and the brass and string instruments really do vibrate. And again, my test track for vocals and for vibrator is "And So It Goes" by Jennifer Warnes, and it has that excellent vibrating quality to the vocals. At the same time, no sibilance, no harshness whatsoever. You can listen to this amplifier for hours without any kind of listening fatigue. Again, this is not obvious for all cases, because on some amplifiers this particular track and the S sounds can be bordering on sibilance. Not with that one. No harshness whatsoever. Moving on to treble. It has very good extension and very good detail in the treble, but I would love to have just a little more transparency and maybe just a tad bit more of air here. No complaints, but as you know, I'm an electrostat guy, so I love openness and transparency. It's by no means bad, but I'd love to have a little more light up the top. I would say this amplifier is on the darker side of things. Not dark, but it's not completely neutral. But it's very, very good in the treble region. My test track for treble and for transparency is one of the stereo play collection, one of the CDs in this collection. The particular number is CD number 40, and it has Baroque Concerto D-Dur 116 Allegro ma con Dio. And this track will sound very open and very airy on transparent amplifiers, and with this particular amplifier it's still open, it's still airy, but I think there were 2 or 1 amplifiers that were able to get that track better. Okay, so moving on to detail. I think I've already covered that partially in band's description, but it has very good detail in all frequency ranges. One of the tracks that I'm using for test for detail is Baba Yetu by Christopher Tin. There is a lot of choral parts in this track, and the idea is to be able to hear the individual voices, and that's level 1. And level 2 for that track and for the detail is ability to hear not only the individual voices, but the fact that the male voices will have certain rawness to them. They will not exactly be ideally smooth, and that's how it should be. The male voice is not always very smooth and very musical. It can be, but it's usually a little bit raw. Okay, again, the next part of the review. Imaging and soundstage. This amplifier has very nice layering and excellent center image. But the center image is not a point source. Again, that's a very good thing. The center image is a solid source with palpable size. So that's again a compliment here. The instruments are full-sized. the sound for the left and right is very wide, and the scene is deep. Sound easily gets away from the speakers. If you close your eyes, it's very hard to pinpoint the speaker location. So again, excellent in this regard, but this is something that I would expect for that price, honestly. Again, an example for imaging and for detail. I don't know if you're familiar with the Taylor Swift's cover of Can't Stop Loving You by Phil Collins. The cover was recorded in BBC, and if you listen to it closely, with the 29-second, there are small echoes on the left and on the right. She's singing, and you'll be able, with good amplifier and good speakers, you'll be able to hear small echoes on the left and the right. These are getting stronger by every second, but they start exactly and mark 29 seconds. And the first ones are very delicate. If you'll be able to spot them, then you're lucky you have a good amplifier and good speakers. This one is excellent because you can hear them starting and you can hear them growing on both sides. Okay, now for the power amplifiers, my reviews contain one additional section, and this one does too. The section when I talk about them and their behavior when they were connected to my Martin Logan Ascent 1 electrostats. Why? Because these are very hard to properly drive, especially in treble, because they drop to 1.2 ohms, and that's heavy load for power amplifiers. And the second reason is that this journey started and it continues with me looking for the best possible power amplifier for my electrostats. So, with my electrostats, this amplifier nicely scales up. Logan's give this amplifier that additional transparency level, this additional airiness that I was saying earlier that I'd love to see here, actually here. So it's here with Ascents, the electrostats will give that additional airiness and transparency. And the amplifier gives back thunderous and very powerful bass. It's a very good amount of bass for these 25 centimeter aluminum drivers that the electrostats have. It's not easy to move them. Smaller amplifiers with smaller output power will give you bass, will give you some nice bass, but usually will not be able to give you thundering, ground shaking bass. This one has no problems with that. Okay, the treble extension with electrostats is great, and it's very important because it means that it has no problems with 1.2 ohm load the electrostats are creating in the treble region. Yes, that's the easiest way to check if an amplifier is able to drive them. The first stage is to hear and look for the treble. If it's missing, if the sound is muddy, if the sound from the speakers it's like it would be coming from behind of some kind of blanket or something like that, then it means that your amplifier is not powerful enough to sustain 1.2 ohms load. Yes, so that was about the sound qualities. Now my loose thoughts and the summary of the review. This amplifier is on a slightly warmer side of things, with very powerful bass that will draw your attention. I wouldn't pair this amplifier with warm and bassy speakers, but it will sound great with neutral and maybe analytical sounding speakers. It scales extremely well with my Ascents and sounds effortless when driving them. And that's like 2 thumbs up. Both the build quality and sound quality are superb, so I can highly recommend that amplifier. Again, it gets my high recommendation. It's excellent. I am sure that you will ask me to compare this amplifier to Dartzil and FM801. I'm sure I'll have that comments that question is in the comments. Guys, at that time, I think it's best of the three, but I need to do a head-to-head comparison. I'll get there when I will finish single amp and preamp reviews that I have lined up. Then I'll get to the place when I'll be comparing them, because at this level they are so close that it's very hard to pick one based on my memory and notes alone. I think, I'm pretty sure this one is the best of the bunch so far. But in order to compare that, I need to have a setup with 2 or 3 of them. I need to use my speaker switch, and in order to be 100% sure, I need to do additional listening sessions with fast switching of the speakers via remote. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this one is the best of them. Yeah. Okay, again, all the links and audio chain description are in the video description. If you have enjoyed that video, if this review helped you to make a decision on buying or passing on this particular amplifier, you are more than welcome to support my channel by buying me a beer using super thanks that can also be found under the video. Thank you. I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll have a great, wonderful day ahead of you. One more thing, if you have noticed something around these boards that I have not covered, if you have noticed something about this amplifier because you own one, please give me a shout in the comments, and if we'll find some additional useful info, I'll put that also in the description of the video, or I will pin the comment as the first one if there will be some kind of interesting discussion. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. See you next time.